Welcome to Live, Let, Thrive, a podcast about the Airbnb life, the share economy, and everything in between. Here are your hosts, Myka and Steve.
Hello, hello, hello
And welcome back to another exciting episode.
of Live,
Let
Thrive.
What's up, Stevie Stacks?
What's up, Myka, man? How you doing?
I'm chilling, man. A whole lot of stuff going on. People losing money, people losing houses, but I'm good. How are you?
So far so good, man. Just hanging in there and taking it one day at a time. See what's up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Got some new merch on my head. Some LLT going on here.
The LLT merch. What
Yeah.
episode we on?
This is episode 120 of your favorite Airbnb, VRBO, home away, Turo, share economy, real estate podcast, all that stuff, you know.
Yes, sir. And we got another exciting guest. We got our guy Chris Henry in the building. What's up, Chris?
What is up, Chris Henry?
What's going on, everybody? How you doing?
Oh, good, man. How you doing?
I'm well. Trying to go day by day as we get through this virus here.
Coronavirus.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I ended up picking up Chris because he's been a loyal follower of the show, and I had posted a question today on Facebook, and I was asking about mortgage forbearance. That was the cons of it, and Chris was like, "Man, I've been doing loan mods for about 8 years." So I was like, "Oh yeah, you'd be the perfect person for the show." So picked up Chris, and Chris is gonna give us the game, man. So if you do a mortgage forbearance, what is your opinion on doing that? Do you think it's a good idea just to save cash flow, or what's your opinion on it?
Well, my opinion is based on your overall strategy and outcome. It just really depends on, and in this case, we're talking about investors, of course, obviously, right? But just overall in general, when it comes to forbearances, is one thing that you have to watch, and that is the underlying fact of you having to pay back these monies that is owed to your lenders.
Mm-hmm.
And so forbearance can be a good thing if you can continue to collect rents. You know, maybe you want to help out. In this case, we're talking about, a disaster, right? So a financial disaster based on what's going on with Corona. So if you're trying to lower and help someone out, yet still collect those rents for a few months, that's a good thing. But if you're simply trying to do this just based on not receiving any kind of income, then it's going to be pretty tough on you when you come out of the term. So I'll get more into that as we go along.
Okay, real quick, can you describe what forbearance is for some listeners that might not know what it is?
Yeah, so forbearance, as ruled by Fannie and Freddie Mac, is a term that allows a borrower to basically forego their payments for a period of time and then eventually pay back what they're down on or have not been making payments on. So there's no accrued interest, only the interest that you currently on. And then you'll be, in a forbearance for about 3 months if they allow you to. So that's a forbearance in a nutshell.
So is always no interest, or like, let's say Wells Fargo is going to charge me interest, or how does that work?
Well, it's going to charge you the interest that you have on that loan, but there's no additional interest. There's not piled or compound interest on the 3 months, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, because I had talked to Wells Fargo about this whole thing, just to see what kind of programs they had, and they said they offered forbearance, and it was going to be, no, like I said, no payments for 3 months, plus no penalties and no hits to your credit.
No hits. That's right. That's correct.
Yeah. So, and that's what Myka was saying. Well, are they going to keep charging us interest? And so I guess, if it's no interest, it sounds like not a bad deal.
Right. So there's no accrued interest on the 3-month forbearance time frame. Only the interest that's currently in place. So if you're at a 4%, 4.25, that's what it's going to be. The downside to that, again, if you're stuck in a situation where your renters or if you're Airbnb host, as you guys are, if you're not generating any income, once the term is over, you're going to be stuck with making that payment, that 3-month payment.
Oh. So what happens? I mean, where does that? How do they make you pay that back? Do they spread that over the loan, or what happens?
No, that's a payment that is owed at the end of the term.
Hold on. Let's see. At the end of the entire mortgage term, or at the end of that 3-month term?
At the end of that 3-month term.
Ooh.
They didn't tell me that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it was something.
Yeah. So according to, and we had a conference call today with some of our managers, and I specifically wanted to clarify that because I was coming on this show, and so the borrower would have to pay that term. Now, here's the key. The key is that they are literally trying to pretty much put you in a modification type situation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's ideal for a person who's literally having a hardship. So that's the reason why I was telling you guys it has to be careful, right? So if a person is literally having a hardship, this would benefit them greater, because if they were current, they had a life-altering situation financially, they got behind, they used that forbearance to kind of get themselves together. Maybe they changed jobs, whatever the case is. After that term, either they're going to pay that 3 months or they're going to modify this loan. So it's kind of like, setting you up to get you modified.
Figure. I mean, you can't outthink these banks. I figured they had like some sort of way to where they make their money. Now I have a question. While your loan is in a forbearance state, are you allowed to refinance?
You are allowed to refinance, but again, that's going to come down to the origination side. That's also going to come down to where you are with your credit, so things of that sort. So now you have to complete the term though. So you're not asking while you in the forbearance can you refinance? No, you have to complete the entire term of the forbearance. So if that term agreement is 3 months, you have to go through that 3-month term.
Oof. Okay, makes sense. Dang. Yeah. Okay. So no accrued interest, but you're gonna have to pay that in full. Now, is there a way where you can? Because this is also what I was thinking. Because it sounds like a lot of forbearances, you're really gonna have to do some negotiating. So, like, is there a way where you could tell the bank, like, look, if I don't pay these 3 months, y'all give me these 3 months. Can you just extend my loan period term an extra 3 months?
Well, there would be, and that's going to be based on the guidelines of who the investor of the loan is. So, for example, if it's Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, hold on one moment. Let me get my. So Fannie and Freddie has a thing called a cap and extension.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, what that means is that you can get an extension if it's a Fannie Mae backed loan for the amount of months you're down on. So, for example, if you are 2 months down, let's just say hypothetically, you were in this forbearance plan, you agreed to a 90-day forbearance term, right? And for the first 2 months, you wasn't generating income for whatever reason, whatever the outcome was. And that second month, you actually literally was able to generate income, and you had the money, right? And you paid that particular mortgage for that month. So you're down 2 months now.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're down 2 months, they'll extend you based on the cap and extension for that 2 months. But that's only on a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac backed loan. So if it's a FHA, USA, USDA, VA loan, it's not going to work.
Because I was figuring if I didn't have to pay mortgages for 3 months, let's just say that'd be about $15,000, you know, saving, not paying mortgages. So
Right.
you're saying on month 4, they say that's due. You need to pay me that 15 grand.
Correct.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I almost don't want to do it now, man. That's just like, what's the point? I mean, if I could still, you know, get my renters to pay and all that stuff, but then, you know, yeah, that's a rough one right there, man.
Yeah. So it will help, like I said, on the borrower side. The investor side, it may not be the ideal situation unless you know you have a plan to keep this property longer than you wanted to, along with being able to either refinance that mortgage or you're going to go into a modification. Now, the upside about the modification is it could lower your overall payment. You know, it could lower your overall payment. The principal obviously is going to increase because we got to restructure this loan and put those payments you missed on the back end, right? So that's going to increase. But depending on what type of interest you have, you could get a lower interest rate and overall lower your monthly mortgage payment.
Okay.
Wow. So in other words, ain't nothing for free in life, huh, Chris?
That's correct.
So, and the reason why this came up, the listeners, why the mortgage forbearance came up, because we were pretty much talking about like, hey, we're after this whole coronavirus, we might be in a recession. We don't know what we're gonna be. The economy's gonna be in shambles, and one of my economy, all of it, you know,
Gonna be.
So, yeah, it's already there. So we pretty much was like, hey, well, what's some ideas that investors or people, homeowners, can come up with? You know, and one of my mentors, he went ahead and mentioned, he said, man, you can go get mortgage forbearance. And he said, he was telling people, hey, if it's a pandemic, you got to do what you got to do. But it just sounded like, man, you really need to hop in that route if you really can't pay your mortgage, right? Because it's
right.
Yeah, because it don't really sound like you about to save much. You know, you about to unless you just stacking bread, you know, just want to pay it all off at the end. I don't know, you know.
Right. No, it's definitely not the ideal situation for the investor that is cash flow positive, you know, that has a pretty good return rate on their rents. I wouldn't advise investors, and that's the reason why I want to get on this show to share the knowledge that is coming down from me and to help out the community. So, but it's not the ideal situation to go ahead and get a forbearance if you're in that situation, especially if your tenants are actually paying, you know, they haven't been hit in any way, financially in any way. And so I wouldn't necessarily advise that part of the strategy unless you want to literally modify the loan.
Oh man, I just because I talked to Wells Fargo and they're like, we'll give you 3 months. You know, I just talked to them. They're like, yeah, you ain't got to pay it for April, May, and June. I'm like, oh, cool. But they was like, we'll send you all the paperwork after the term. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I'm like, nah, I'm about to pay mine. I ain't about to be.
Yeah, but they didn't mention no balloon payment to us at the end, right?
No, they didn't. But at the same time, he's the second source I've talked to that said that. It was like, yeah, they hit you with a balloon payment. It was like, because I've heard the only way to truly get away with it, you have to tell them, hey, you got to give me no interest, and you got to tack on the payments at the end, which is where Chris comes in. He was like, yeah, that's just a loan modification. They just modifying the whole loan, right?
Yeah, that's exactly. It's basically, you know, I don't know if it's on purpose. I don't even think it's on purpose, but it is a bait in a sense to get you in to modify that loan. Now, what I can share with you is, and this is off the record, so to speak. So for everybody listening, this is not completely set in stone, but we did learn something from Fannie and Freddie Mac that there's a possibility that they're going to pass down a deferment of payments for 6 months. And this is forever changing, guys. So this could change, you know, tomorrow. and it's kind of day by day based on what we're going with, because going through just because of the coronavirus and the updates we're getting. So now, if that is the case, and if it is a Fannie Freddie loan, and they do roll out the deferment, then it's in your favor, right? So it is in your favor if the deferment of payments are actually extended for the 6 months.
Yeah.
But again, that's day to day. So that's no guarantee just yet. Maybe if I learn something in the next week or so, maybe I can hop back on and give you guys some updates. So
that's legit.
But that'll be a game changer.
Yeah, that will be a game changer if they do deferred. Then dang, that's interesting, because I know from the last crash they trying to better themselves, come up with different kinds of ways, with different kinds of ways. Because like you said, I think Steve's the one who says it all the time, man. The bank don't want no keys, man. They want payments.
Exactly.
A lot of keys, man. Now the funny thing is, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that, Fannie and Freddie are very clear on not losing money. And they'll stick the lenders, the servicers, with whatever penalties if we didn't board those loans the right way, because they're not in the business of losing money. Period. So anyway, go ahead.
No. I bet a lot of this, and it's funny how this is happening, because I bet a lot of this is reminding people of how they handled their student loans when they got out of college, man. All these terms, deferment and forbearance, and
that's
and a lot of these. I'm gonna save some money now. I can still go out and party and blah blah blah. A lot of that is the reason we still have student loans, because we did all that crap in the beginning. It sounds like free money, but you always got to pay the piper with interest.
That's right.
See,
now I will say this. I will say this though. I also learned too that there's no penalty to pay while in the deferment. You can actually pay, while you're in the forbearance. I'm sorry. You can still actually pay while you're in a forbearance, just to have a hedge against that balloon if you'd like. So that is a nice thing. They'll just sit the money in what we call suspense. And then once you come out of the term, it'll be applied.
Okay.
So just a little nugget there too. So there's a lot to think about.
Yeah, because I have buddies at work. Oh, I'm gonna do it, man. I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna pay off my car while I'm doing it. I'm gonna do this and that. I'm like, okay, I guess it's free money for everybody right now. But yeah, there's a big catch, guys. I'm gonna be sure to tell them.
That's great.
It is a catch, and so I want to share that with you. That is a catch, and that catch is literally a loan modification.
Yeah, which they'll get. I mean, imagine how much money they make. All these people figure out, oh crap, I got to pay this back, and then they got to try to figure out how to modify or refinance all this crap. Because that's a lot of fees involved in refinancing, right?
Correct. Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of fees involved in refinance. You have to come out of pocket for the appraisals. The origination fees are a little bit different. The credit score, it's a little different qualification than a new home buyers.
And let's say in that period, maybe your credit goes down, and then in that period also, I don't know. It's just like when you get to that point where you got to pay it back, and you're like, well, you got to pay this money to us, or refinance, or modification, and then you'd be like, well, I don't have the money. And then you're going to be like, okay, well, let's remodify. And your interest rate, the sweet interest rate at 4% goes up to like 5 or 6 because your credit's messed up now. And then that's the best. And plus you got to pay all the fees. Ooh, it could get ugly.
Yeah, it can get ugly. It can get ugly.
Yeah, because I've heard of people forbearing their mortgage and they get stuck with not only the balloon payment, sometimes the bank will remodify, like, oh, we'll add it on to the end, but then they'll I forgot. I got to get Brian to talk about it. He broke it down. Like he said, man, there's so many steps that you just don't know, and that's why I posed the question, what are the cons? I don't want to know the pros. What's the cons? But actually, I'd like to know now, after talking about all this, what are the pros besides, I guess, if you're just a person who can't pay at that time, is that the only pro to forbearing your mortgage?
Well, let me just share this with you and stay with the con here real quick, because I think some listeners need to know this, and this is important. That if you have not been in a loan more than 12 months, especially a FHA loan, during the seasoning period, you won't qualify for a modification. So you definitely would want to forego, especially if you are, receiving those rent payments. You probably want to forego the forbearance strategy.
It's people who hopped in right at the crash to get hit. But go ahead, Steve.
Now, question: what if, like, let's for example, I bought my house in April, right? And then so I put in for the forbearance now in March, but the seasoning. My 12 months will come up in April, you know what I'm saying, during my forbearance. Now, how does that count also? The months that I wouldn't?
It has to be seasoned for a full 12-month term. Now, that is only on FHA loans.
Yeah, that's what I got. That's what I'm saying. Because, like, right now, I started the forbearance right now, but in 3 months from now, it'll be past 12 months.
Yeah.
So it'd be good to modify it.
So you may, and that's something that you probably need to negotiate. Just say, hey, look, I'm at this place. I'm 1 month out for the 12-month season, and really just let them know that you know what they know, right? So you know what they know, and just kind of share your findings about this. And just say, hey, I've been making my payments, but here I am today, and this is what I need help with. And at this point, everybody is so vulnerable. There's a possibility that you would probably get approved, even that short out from being seasoning of the 12 months.
Now I can right offhand think of a pro.
Okay.
Because that's a scary, facing a big ass balloon payment at the end. But instantly, I'm thinking, okay, well, this epidemic's going on right now, and then there's some optimism. The president's saying hopefully by Easter things start getting back to normal. Yeah, we'll see, whatever. But that buys you 3 months time if you're planning on selling this house,
right,
or rental property. That buys you 3 months to put it on the market. Try to get a good deal on it, boom, sell it. Then you don't have to face that balloon payment.
That is correct.
That's a big pro right there.
And that is definitely something that can be done. It just depends on in our market. For the most part, I think that houses sell if they're priced right, anywhere from 56 days they're on the market or something like that on average, right? So I think if you priced right, I think you can do that.
And what market are you in, real quick?
Well, I'm here in the Little Elm, Frisco area.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, and I'm happy Steve brought that up about selling. I was talking to somebody earlier, and they said, matter of fact, we was talking about it before we started casting. Me and Chris, we were like, because I said, friend of the show, he said he could see after all this blows over, he could see a lot of people panic selling their houses. Like, hey, this kind of got kind of scary. Those people who were saying, hey, I'm gonna sell, but didn't never put their house on the market, they might, do a panic sell. Like, fuck it, I'm gonna sell my house, and that's a good idea. That those people are out there, and then for people who have cash on hand, it's good for them. They can go ahead and hop in, So it's gonna be an interesting little. I think between now and September, it's going to be interesting to see what's going on.
Yeah. And believe it or not, man, people are already tuning in. They're already tuning in to see what's out there, And Fannie and Freddie are rolling out programs. Like I said, we getting updates day after day. So just be on the lookout. More updates are sure to come as we move forward with this pandemic. So
now real quick, I'm gonna go over a con that I see. And the con that I see is that us investors, we're throwing our stuff in forbearance, but yet we're still wanting to actively look for good deals. We can't go. Can we go and put in for a loan to buy a house while we're in forbearance with our other 4 homes? Would that work?
Yeah, you can. And remember, nothing is reported to your credit. There's no late fees assessed. So you're basically free and clear of what you owe, right? You're not taking a hit at all. You only may experience the hit after the term is over. So.
Okay, but I mean, I just thought that'd be weird by saying, calling up Wells Fargo, hey, you know, I can't make my rents on the 3 rental properties in my personal home because of Corona. But at the same time, I'm calling back, hey, can I get a loan for a 6th house or a 5th house? You know what I'm saying? I just thought that would look a little weird.
Well, it probably would with the same lender.
Good point. Good point.
But maybe not so much if you go with Bank of America. Some people don't like Bank of America, but if you go with Bank of America, you may be okay.
And on that same note, another pro would for the whole forbearance thing that people are talking about, and then those that are looking to get out of these homes, you know, like, oh crap, you know, get it out of some of these homes they're barely making, you know, the rents on from their renters. You
Yeah.
can go with knowing this piece of knowledge, going in there and trying to buy these homes from them. You have a real good negotiating tool. You say, hey, by the way, I mean, if you're in forbearance, if you happen to be in forbearance right now, you're gonna have to pay that back in 3 months. That's not free money. And they'll be like, holy shit. And then they'll be really motivated to sell you their house. I mean, that's
yeah, they're trying to come up with this $9,000 payment.
And you'd be like, bro, I can buy it right now, you know, get it off your hands.
How you think about it, if you was to forbear, like how Steve said, $15,000, you forbear that. Let's say you forbear that, put all those properties on the market, you save that 3 months, you can buy another property, sell those. You know, it has some cons.
It's some pros.
It has some pros. You just have to be real. The pros come out of creativity, it sounds like.
Well, that, and you have to talk to guys like me that are more on the inside, who are really getting some of the handouts from the investors and some of the mortgage companies and what we can and can't do. And again, like some of your private label lenders, they have different guidelines. I mean, they pretty much will be able to do whatever they want. And that is something that, I can't necessarily share with you because we don't always get those handed out as you would, a government-backed loan or Fannie and Freddie, because they're more regulated, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense.
Makes sense. Okay. Hey.
Yeah, man. That's some good nuggets right here, man. We're digging it. Real quick, you ever played football before?
Yes, I actually did. We were actually sharing that before we got on, that I did play at UAPB, University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. I played.
What position?
Cornerback.
Cornerback.
So
okay.
I thought I was Dion.
Best position to play out there, yes, sir.
Yeah. Because I was just wondering how we're going to market this episode. I'm going to say, famous football player Chris Henry hops on the show.
Yeah, they probably mistakenly like, did he come back a lot? So like, they might be mistaking me for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Right.
That's cool. But I did play though, so that's good. You wouldn't be lying.
Chris said the famous Chris Henry on our show.
Man. But yeah, man. So forbearance, that's an option to look at. You guys know the pros and cons to it if you're going to do that.
Now, here's a big question.
Go ahead, Steve.
People were wondering,
mm-hmm.
especially me, because people are like, when they saw the interest rates, the Fed dropped the interest rates to 0, they're like, oh crap, I'm gonna redo my loan, and they call up the banks and they're like, actually rates are 3.7 or 3.8, right? Like, wait a minute, it said 0 on TV.
Zeros to the bank, right?
Yes, that's correct. So that allows the bank to borrow, money, but not the consumer. So that's talking about strictly the bank and what they're able to do. And more specifically the Federal Reserve, right? And so, but no, that has absolutely nothing really to do with the consumer. But the rates are historically low, as we've all known. But no, you can't. There's absolutely no way a bank is going to lend you money without adding interest.
So pretty much, so when they say, hey, the Fed cuts it to 0% interest, the consumer just expects that their interest is just going to go down because now the bank's like, okay, I can give it to you at a lower interest rate and still make a profit, correct?
Right.
Okay.
But that, yeah.
Yeah, but you ain't getting that zero, player.
No, you're not getting that. You're not getting that 0.5. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. So on a loan modification, depending on who the investor is, that loan modification interest rate can go as low as 1%. I've seen it as low as 1%. However, they may do a 40-year mortgage on you. Right? So if you think about that, they're actually going to make money. You'll either be paying this off through your through your kids or grandkids, depending on how old you are, or you're going to be forced to sell at a price that you probably don't want because you're probably so far upside down.
Ooh.
So you're saying 1% interest?
Yeah, 1% interest, but they may extend the terms out 40 years.
Now, I mean, I'd sign up today if I could get 1% interest for the 40-year, but could I pay extra each month? And then
without penalty.
Okay, that's what I would do. That would be perfect.
Yeah. But that doesn't happen that often, but I've seen quite a few at a 1% on a modification.
And folks, Chris Henry will get you that rate.
I can't guarantee that, but I have seen it.
40, 1% at 40? I would do that too, man. Just a little extra damage. Dang, that's crazy. Man.
Sure, there's a lot of catches involved, though.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot to that. Structuring that loan in that way. I mean, it just kind of depends on the value of the home, how far the person is behind. I mean, I've seen loans that literally were 89 months past due.
Ooh.
89 months, not days, 89 months past due, and actually got modified.
Dang.
Yeah.
So
and again, that's depending on the state, the value, and all of that. So.
See, I started hearing about those long loans, 40 years or more loans from my friends in California because it's hard to buy a house out there.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to spread it, even farther just to be able to afford some affordable payments.
Right.
Yeah.
And we've seen those. I've seen a lot of those in California. New York, too. As a matter of fact, a New York loan was the loan that I actually saw that had that 89-month past due that actually got modified.
Wow. And now, and car loans, I've seen like this real common now. I've seen buddies get 7-year car loans.
Yes.
Do they go farther than 7 years?
No, I know. I've seen that. That's as far as I've seen on the car loan side.
So I'm like, if we start getting these loans for 7 years for a car or more, or in a house 40 years or more, I mean, why don't we just rent these things, man? It's just like you're renting it forever.
Right.
That truck ain't going to be working after 7 years.
Exactly.
definitely not.
After 5 years, it's falling apart, man.
So okay, this is I guess the big subject everybody wants to get into because you work on the inside of the loans and getting everything coming down. What is the aftermath of this corona like? I know you're seeing changes. They're talking about changing up mortgage. What could you see as the aftermath after all this is done? The coronavirus, we're coming out from under our stairs. As I said, what do you see as the aftermath of it?
Well, depending on how long it lasts, that's going to determine the aftermath. Like we were saying earlier on the show, if we don't see a taper off by mid-April, at least by mid-April, I think the entire economy is going to suffer, and the housing market will take a huge hit. Now, on my side, modification side, we're going to be extremely busy. As a matter of fact, we're already, ramping up as some of the loan processes have originations have kind of stalled or tapered off. I mean, they're not extremely slow, but it hadn't been on fire like you would expect, especially hearing the news that interest rates have been cut to zero, basically. So, but I think if we don't see a taper off, I think the entire economy, including the real estate market, is going to take a hit.
How about you, Steve? What you think the aftermath of the corona is?
The aftermath. I think a whole lot of rich people are going to get a whole lot richer from all this.
I believe that too.
I agree with that.
I do agree with that.
It always happens. There are always people in the know. And it's crazy. I call it, we don't have capitalism here. We have crony capitalism. So the rich people, they put in their guys in power. Their guys in power, do special stuff for them, and believe that a lot of these rich people, investors or whatever, are going to get paid off by the government on that $6 trillion handout they're about to do.
Yeah.
But politics aside, and one thing I was hearing, like a lot of these congressmen and senators started having these closed door meetings saying, this coronavirus is coming this way, and this is what's probably going to happen. So y'all should probably start selling your stocks now before and then they go tell us, hey, everything's fine. This is nothing. This is a hoax. Whatever they're telling us. Yet they're selling their personal stocks because they knew this shit was going to hit the fan, and so they're fine. They're dandy. They made all these record profits and stuff. But it's just it's the little people that gets crushed in all this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just my little political rant right there.
So I talked to my guy Jabron earlier, and Jabron, Jabron's funny, but he said something that was kind of interesting to me. He was like, I think this is what his opinion was, and I actually agreed with it. He was like, he said this might sound a little insensitive. He said, but I think the government is going to look at the numbers of what the economy's doing to what coronavirus is doing, and if ain't enough people dying from coronavirus, they're going to be like, look, we got to get the economy moving again. You know what I mean? I was like, man, I could see them doing that, because it's like, yo, if people ain't just falling dead on the street, like, they boom, corona and I'm out. You know what I mean? You got to
not like Ebola.
Yeah.
Not like Ebola.
Yeah, because right now, like I think, Steve, you said it earlier, man, the economy already gone. It's down. You know what I mean? It's people taking a hit, So I don't know. It's interesting. I think I could see the government doing that.
And to like I said earlier, prior to getting on the show, it's kind of like if you ever played stocks, especially penny stocks. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that at all. But when it's kind of like a shakedown. You shaking out the weak hands, and I think that's part of what is actually going on too. Is booming economy. Everybody's becoming a millionaire overnight through FBA, short-term rentals. They can't slow down. The little guys, they just can't seem to wrap their mind around how these people are creating wealth, so to speak, or becoming a better, financially positioned individual. Let's do something to shake some weak hands here and see if they can they can navigate through this. So
I was thinking that same thing, like, because everybody's 401ks was getting pretty fat, and I was thinking these rich people are like, man, how can we get our hands on that money?
Right.
What are they doing with all that money? They found a way to get their hands on our money, man. That's crazy.
Exactly.
And that's one of the things. I'm like, you got to find out other hustles or other investments. They can't just blindly give your money to Wall Street, man. They're crooked as
exactly. Yeah. I totally agree.
Man,
Yeah.
I totally agree.
So it's good. I still think rental properties is the best way to go, me personally, because I mean, there's like we were saying, they don't want the keys back. They'll do all kinds of modifications, this and that. And if you can get some good renters in there, man, you could just get to the point where it's paid down a lot, or paid off one day. I was thinking, man, if I had three 3 of these paid off rentals, man, I'm making like $5,000 a month,
Yeah.
cash flow, and that's today's money. I'm sure in future money it'd be more like $10,000 a month.
Right.
So I'm like, man, I just thinking of the whole forbearance thing, and I was like, wow, man. So people that have paid off houses are making this much cash flow a month. That's nice. That's nice. That's real wealth right there.
Yeah, sure.
And I had some because I've been I've been doing pretty good with throughout the whole coronavirus thing. I have a short term that's doing well, like the ones I'm responsible for. My short term, I just had someone book for a month, and they stay in a whole month. So I'm like, I'm good till the end of April. Yeah. But then I was like, man, I do have a corporate rental, which I haven't talked to him yet. Now I need to hit him up tomorrow. And I ain't had that uncomfortable. He hasn't brought to me that uncomfortable conversation. Hey, I lost my job or nothing. So, but I think that's something people got to start looking at. Like, man, I ain't had that happen to me yet, and I'm like, man, blessed that they still out there rolling. And that's one good thing I would say about corporate rentals. Those people, like especially traveling nurses right now, they in high demand. They paying $4,000 to go to Washington D.C. right now. So. It is good. It's a good thing to be in the corporate space. And the one thing I learned was you should definitely be a corporate rental business and then use Airbnb as just your vacancy as a gap filler. So yeah, man. I don't know, Steve. You haven't had that unfriendly text yet, have you?
Unfriendly text.
No, not unfriendly. That uncomfortable text.
Uncomfortable text. I've gotten a few, and I'll be like, I can see who it is. I'm like, oh man, I open it, and it's like, it's been cool so far. It's been cool so far. Yeah. One of my renters, they do like carpet cleaning and house cleaning, so they're in high demand right now. They're working like crazy. Yeah. People want their houses cleaned, and another one is like a preacher at a church, and I think he's probably salaried and stuff, so he's pretty good.
And he gets paid every Sunday.
And then the other one, she kind of make her money off on the internet. So I don't know how she makes her money on the internet, but she, like I said, everybody's staying home. Everybody's staying home right now, so she might be in high demand too. Hope she don't listen to this show.
Your renter's still getting bread. It
sounds like they're all pretty good right now, having had the tough conversation. She plays video games for money. Okay, that's the story. All right, let's stick to it. Okay, let's get this back on track. Chris Henry, do you have any rentals of your own?
No, I don't have any rentals. I've wholesale, houses, but I hadn't bought any rentals. I've been following you guys and wanting to pick your brains on how to get into space, but I think right now I'm going to hold off for a second.
That's what I was thinking. I was going to ask you, you think being in the industry, is it a good time to buy? Is there opportunities right now?
Well,
that's a good question.
Not right now. In my opinion, I think if you're patient and just wait just a little bit, because right now the real estate market hadn't actually taken a hit, so to speak. And I'm talking about taking a hit in terms of value. The value hadn't dropped yet. We won't see that until we know which direction we're going to be able to go as a country. Is the deaths or the cases tapering, or is it continuing to accelerate? So that's the reason why I think that by April the 6th, we should have a pretty good feel for where the market can go and probably predict what's going to happen, even in the real estate space.
Ooh, man, that was a good question too. That was my question too. Like,
yeah, I mean, it would be a risk, especially if you have other mortgages. If you're going to take on another mortgage, at this time.
Well, you got to understand that most people that are in corporate America, so to speak, have transitioned to work from home. So there's a lot that's actually going on where people are still making money. Like they're making money to buy a house, right? And to move and do this and that. Certain industries are continuing to thrive. There are other businesses where people depend on, their Waffle House. Some people may be, a manager. I think Panda pays their store manager like $60,000. I mean, that's not a lot, but that's decent enough to pay a $1,500, $1,600, $1,700 rent or mortgage, right? And so those people are the ones that I'm talking about that could suffer the most if we have to continue to do social distancing.
Man,
I would suggest one thing that right now it's going to be a lot of, like, if you want to do some upgrades to your houses right now, if you want to, I don't know, put a patio or do some flooring or something, these guys are like, they're like really scared. They're giving good deals right now. So hit up your guys, and you can start making your houses, improving on your houses right now for like pennies on the dollar. That might be a better route than buying a whole new one.
That's correct, and I agree with that, and I can see that being, an alternative to hedge against what could be. So the crazy thing about this is that no one literally knows what the future holds, because no one has been able to. No one was alive 100 years ago or 102 years ago, so no one can tell by experience what they did in the economy in order to overcome what happened 102 years ago.
That's a long time,
yeah. So it's been a learning curve for everyone in the world so far.
Right. One thing, one of our previous guests, the millennial millionaire, he came on our show. He was talking about how he likes to get big houses and then make each room like its own apartment unit.
Right.
And so I thought that was cool, especially in recessionary times. People can't afford to rent a big house anymore. Hey, they gotta live somewhere. So he has a big ass house with a decent mortgage. You got a good deal on it right now. But you got your guys, and you know how to modify it to give each person their own bathroom and their own whatever little kitchenette. Man, you could probably make some good money right now doing that.
Yeah, now that's a real creative way to stay above when things are going underwater. So that's a real creative way to do that.
And I'm happy because Chris, you said you didn't know about hopping into short-term rentals right now. And it's funny, I was talking to one of our past guests earlier, and he was saying he had hit me, and he was like, hey, this dude just gave me a 20-unit deal of his Airbnb. He's just like, look, I'll give you 20 of my units. And like, first thing I asked him, I'm like, if you take on 20 units right now, it's a 100% reserve play, because you probably ain't going to make no money right now. You might make a little money, you know what I mean? But you better have your reserves packed. He was like, man, hell no, I ain't got reserves for that. So I was like, yeah, man, you might not want to pick that up, So and I could tell you this. Let's say you had the 20 units and you could pick them up and you had the reserves for it. I think depending on how long this thing lasts, you might come out making some bread. You might be making well over 6 figures a year, off that, So I think you can get in right now if you can find people that are struggling with their units and want to sell their leases, like with arbitrage route. But you gotta the only scary part, the only unknown factor is we don't know how long this thing's gonna last.
Right. And see
but also and on the back end, I told them if you gotten a contract with like a traveling nursing agent or a traveling doctor agency right now, then picked up the units, and then they putting people in your place for you, that could work too. So it's about creativity. What would you say?
Yeah, that's thinking outside of the box. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely. Whatever you do, if you're going to rent short-term or corporate, put in a policy, BYOTP. Bring your own toilet paper. There still ain't none out there. Still the shelves are empty.
Hey, quick tip for those that may be listening, and I may be shooting myself in the foot. In the DFW area, we do have a lot of small supermarkets, Indian-owned places. You might be able to find some toilet paper from there now. Just saying.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I have a little secret connect on toilet paper. I ain't had to use it yet. Yeah, I haven't had to use it because Walmart now they have a toilet paper guy on the aisle, man. He got to pass on the toilet paper, man.
Yeah.
I don't think Steve been on Facebook, but no, I went over there and they was passing out toilet paper. There was one more left up there. And I was like, oh, damn. So I start coughing, man. I start like going coughing. Man, them people got the hell up out of there. I got the last toilet paper, man. So
shit, you cleared out the aisle, man.
Yeah, they was like, oh, we gotta go. So yeah, man, but yeah, I ain't had to use my toilet paper Connect yet. But yeah, it's they you should be able to get toilet paper. They gotta hand it out. They hand it out like it's crazy, man. So, this one dude, I was checking out, and this one dude had two things of toilet paper. But like, and he was trying to check out, and the lady was like, "Hey, how'd you get that?" And he was like, "Well, one of them was just sitting on the shelf, and they like snatched out of his basket, like, no, you can't take it." And they gave it to another guy, like you can't have no more than two.
Then one, apparently he had two, right?
Yeah, he had two. You can't have more than one. My bad. So yeah, you can only have one toilet paper stack, man. I was like, damn. But I just don't get it. I'm like, man, y'all crazy out here, man.
Yeah.
It's just that panic mentality.
It really is. You know, we was talking about that. You know, and after this pandemic, we don't know what's gonna happen because that's fear. Fear does a lot to people, man. Fear does create action. It might be irrational action, but it's gonna create some action. You know.
Yeah. I still got access to at my job. You know, thank goodness I still got a job. But they have that toilet paper they give us is pretty much like 30 grit sandpaper. Got wood chips in it.
Yeah.
So I could, push comes to shove, I'll bring that shit home.
Yeah, like I ain't had no problem getting it though. But yeah, let's try. They got it at Walmart. The toilet paper guy. That's who you got to go talk to.
The TP guy. You just slip him a 10. You know, he'll hook you up.
Man.
Oh man, it's been a good interview, Chris. Man, we appreciate you hopping on, and so people could, you could help people out with their modifications, huh?
Yeah. So even if we don't service the loan, if you wanted to, pick my brain on what you think you should do, I mean, feel free to do so. I'm on Facebook, Chris Henry. I'm on Instagram. It's Chris Hen 05, and I'm on Twitter, Chris Hen 05.
Yeah,
I will interact there, but yeah, I've been doing this long enough to know what to share with someone if they're in trouble in terms of loan modifications and forbearances.
Definitely.
Nice. Yeah, you're giving us a wealth of information here because I'm thinking twice about doing that because that's a big old balloon payment, man.
Yeah. No, it's definitely not to scare you, not to, but it is to, alert you and make you aware of what you have before you. So I'm glad I was able to get on and add value to you guys and your community. So.
Yeah, man.
Okay, what are you looking to get into? I mean, you said you're thinking of doing some short term in corporate.
Well, like I said, I've been following you guys, and when you follow people like that, you almost can't help but to at least see what it's about, right? But like I said, I've been a wholesale, I wholesale houses, but I'm transitioning into buying notes.
Nice.
And so, yeah, so I've been, I almost had a deal actually in Memphis on note buying, but the terms just didn't work out for us the way we wanted it to. Seller was kind of holding back some information until we dug deep into how he structured his loan, and it just didn't add up. So, but yeah, so me being in the mortgage servicing space for as long as I have, it just only makes sense for me to get involved in notes because I know how to modify if I have to. So I know how to structure a loan too.
And plus, you get the pick of the litter, right? Because you get to see all the good ones first.
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why we're transitioning into notes.
So I see. You're talking about doing wholesaling, and then doing notes. So it's two like smaller risk, bigger reward type deals you're into.
Correct. Yeah. Because see, even if with the notes, because you control the paper, if they go to foreclosure or whatever, you have to evict. I mean, now you got a collateral and then you can just do whatever you want with the house. But in the meantime, you didn't. During that time, all you did was collect the check.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like having renters and you got to go fix crap and fix the toilet and
Exactly.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. That's intriguing. There's gonna be a lot of notes popping up pretty soon, I would think.
Oh yeah, yeah. This might be prime. I may be giving out a little bit too much, but that's all right though. No, it'll. But no, it should be more than enough for everyone. I mean, you could pick up probably, from my understanding, if you get about 30 to 40 notes, I mean, you could have a residual income of upwards of 120 grand. Me just collecting.
Damn,
But you have to know, you just have to know where you want to be, and what markets are good markets in order to literally have that kind of cash flow.
Yeah. That spot.
The only other thing to this is it's slow. Yeah, it's a slow process.
Okay. And you earlier in the show, you mentioned that that you got to let these what's it called, the bank, let them know that this information about about the forbearance, to hop back into that real quick. Could you just tell our listeners real quick what questions should they ask the banker while they're talking about going through forbearance? What questions should they ask them, and what should
the number one question that they may not answer right up front is the clear-cut process of the repayment. That's the number one question, because oftentimes you're going to have a conversation and they're going to give you what they want to give you. In order to get the fine print, you're going to have to get an application. So, and if they don't know what to say, talk to another agent. Call back and talk to someone. If they don't dispel with you or let you know up front because they may not even know, or they hadn't taken the time out to learn this from upper management or the policies and procedures, then call back and try to get another person on the line.
That's good advice.
Because again, it is going to ultimately boil down to who's the investor on the loan. So some policies may be a little bit different if it's not a Fannie or Freddie back loan.
Good advice. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that because it's funny because me and Mike, I told Myka about this thing, and so I said, well, yeah, you just call them. You just tell them you want the 3-month forbearance. They said, okay, starting day one right now, and they get you off of the auto pays and everything. I said, wow, that's pretty easy. But then you get the email with all the stuff you got to fill out, all the forms. Right. And then it says you have your own home preservation specialist. And it's a because I had asked the girl a bunch of questions, the original girl that was helping me, and she didn't have hardly any answers. She didn't know about interest. She didn't know about whatever paying back. She said, oh, it might be information on the forms we're sending you. Plus, and now you have your home preservation specialist to talk to. I tried calling. I was on hold forever, and then I just left a voicemail. That was 2 days ago. So they're pretty busy right now, I would assume.
They're pretty backed up.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So if I do hit her up, I'm gonna ask her all these questions. I appreciate it so much.
All right.
Yeah.
And you're welcome, man. Thank you guys for having me on. I'm glad that I was able to add value to you guys. And who knows? I might be back on in a week or two if things continue to go the way they are, and the market mortgage space change, and I'll probably be able to add some more stuff to you guys.
Cool, man. Yeah, man. This is you've helped me out personally a lot because I didn't know all this. I just got a text from Myka. Hey, hold off on that forbearance. You got it, but there might be some catches to it. And then I said, well, get us a banker on, or get us a loan specialist on, And he said, "Oh, I'm gonna try to get." And when he got you, I was like, "Man, this is perfect." I love this platform because we can not only can we find out answers for ourselves, but we're helping out our fans and listeners too. So yeah, we appreciate it.
No problem.
So folks can hit you up and get their get their questions asked and then get their journey started.
All right, sounds good.
The famous Chris Henry.
So I'm gonna blast this on everything, and hopefully we can help people out. So
cool, man. Any more questions, Mike?
No, that was it, man. Definitely thank you for coming on, man. Because me and Steve had been on the phone with Wells Fargo, trying to thought we was about to save some money.
We're about to go to Vegas.
Yeah, for real, for $4.
If you save it, don't blow it. Keep it and pay it back.
Man, that was Chris Henry coming at you. He gave you all the information on loan forbearances, loan modifications, everything you need to know about it. You can hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Let's Live, Let Thrive. Hit us up, YouTube. Leave us a comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, man.
And hit up Chris Henry. Get your loan right.
Yeah, if you in this DFW area, hit up Chris Henry, man. Get your loan right. Don't lose your house.
And you do new home loans too, or just
no, just mods, just servicing.
Okay, cool.
Just servicing. But I know a lot about the originations, but we only work with servicing the loan.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, man. This has been a great episode.
LLT is out.
All right. Peace.
Later.
So, after learning all that, man, damn, like, oh, yeah, we got the new LLT gear. We got to get that. I got to get that. Matter of fact, because I got some gear to give you. But so after learning all that, because I called Wells Fargo and I was ready to hop in, but I was like, the lady just made it seem too easy. And I'm like, man, hold on. There's a catch to this shit. And I'm like, let me call. I posted something on Facebook, and, man, I just started getting loads of replies. They were like, oh, well, they'll do accrued interest. They'll do this. And so Chris was like, hey, I've been doing this for 8 years. So, yeah, I think I'm going to hold off myself, man. How about yourself?
There's nothing for free, especially, I mean, I don't see a benefit to it if I'm going to have to pay it all off at the end anyways. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I talked to Jabron earlier about it too, because he had some information. He was like, yeah, man. He was like, you have to think like this. You can't outsmart these banks, man. I was like, yeah, that's a good point. So,
now, if I was planning on selling one of my houses, I would do it. Yeah, that would give me a 3-month buffer for no payments,
Yeah.
Then I could, like, if it needed work done, the money I would be spending on the mortgage, I'd be putting in, fixing this, fixing the bathroom, fixing whatever it needed. And then, that makes sense then, because then you sell it, you don't ever have to pay that forbeared money back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true, man. I think it's ways to make it work, but you just got to be creative, and willing to take that leap. So, but yeah, that was a good app, man. And I'm definitely holding off. I've been blessed so far, with everything, still working. Still, business is still operating. I ain't took huge hits, but I did take a couple of hits, man. So, like, the timeshare, they just straight closed one of the whole building, and, like, I had guests in there.
Ooh.
So, like, they put the guests out, but they weren't tripping. They were like, hey, man, we already know what's going on. It's a pandemic, and they know. So we refunded them the rest of their stay. So it's getting crazy out there, because I think – we ain't really looking at it in totality. There's a lot of people out there without jobs right now, man.
That's the thing. I mean, I guess we're fortunate enough to have jobs. Some of these people especially people we interviewed on this show, that's their only source of income is Airbnb. I mean, they're making a killing off of it. But man, they don't have no job. They don't have no other. This all 100% Airbnb. So I mean, if this teaches you anything, you should diversify. I don't know if you should have a job if you don't want to have a job, or a part-time or something, or have some kind of other hustles. But yeah, put your eggs in one basket, man. It's very, very dangerous.
Yeah, it is. It's with anything. Yeah, you definitely can't have all your eggs in one basket out here, man. It's dangerous game, and I think a lot of Airbnb hosts might have got caught with their pants down. I think, and I just think I think people who are Airbnb dependent, and it start to start to crank up on you when Airbnb start laying their hand down, so.
Something I thought of. It was funny because I watched Jay Massey's show after all this stuff hit. He started putting these episodes out and answering the questions from the listeners, from his followers. And he's talking about, okay, man, this is uncharted times. You gotta start slashing wherever you can slash. He talked about cutting Netflix and cutting whatever you guys whatever serve little things you got here, and cutting the coffee. He's talking about cutting coffee. Just every cost, that everything that's not totally 100% vital to your business. And I was thinking, is paying to be part of a part of a group for $1,000 a month, is that vital to their business? I started thinking that, man. He didn't mention that though. He said, "No, don't end your $1,000 a month subscription. cut that $10 Netflix payment though." But you got to do what you got to do, man. Yeah,
it's getting crazy out here, man. And I don't know.
It's cool. I mean, if you look for the silver lining. What's cool? BiggerPockets just mentioned the other day, they're putting all their books for $10. The audio and I think audio and then like your phone, you read it on your phone, whatever that is, the PDF and audio.
Yeah.
All their books and their whole catalog is $10 a book. So that's not bad. If you want to start getting like you were talking about, getting your knowledge on right now while everything is kind of up in the air. Start learning some shit, Start learning like home improvement. Start learning some things you can do yourself. Start learning whatever. I don't know. The BRRRR strategies. You learn all this shit because then at least you have that knowledge when it's time to get back in the game.
And it's a perfect time to do it too. A perfect time to do it. People get desperate in these times, man. And they hey, man, I need another stream of income. It's that time. So. But yeah, to all the Airbnb hosts out there, I hope y'all surviving through all this, because I know a lot of people taking hits. I see people selling units. I see people taking different strategies. So, yeah, man, I just really hope that everybody's still thriving. Even the people that do long term, if you do long term, I hope you're thriving too. You ain't got that uncomfortable call yet, like, hey, I don't got my job no more. You're like, oh snap, I got to work out some payment plans. So, yeah.
Yeah, this event, like right here, man, it'll separate the pros from the pretenders, right?
Yeah.
Because hustlers will find a way, man. Like I said, if you have to rent out each room by room, and do some stuff and lower the prices a little just to get by. I mean, if you could just weather the storm, you'd be sitting pretty in a few months. When everybody jumped out, you'd be sitting real pretty.
See, 'cause that's my thing, and that's my thing about hopping in right now onto something. I don't know how long this thing's gonna last. This whole Corona thing, we don't know how long it's going to last. I mean, you got to be willing to take a chance, though, and it's funny. I was actually asked this earlier today. I was like, does the U.S. have a timeline of when China first started the pandemic to when they found out they had 0 new cases? If you could kind of use that as a baseline to analyze things over here, so.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know.
One thing that I remember the last recession.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember because I was in apartments when that happened, so it really didn't hit me. That was before I even got my first house. But I remember apartment complexes everywhere was struggling, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember it was like they were giving away, first month free, first 2 months free, plus a free 44-inch TV. Yeah, I mean, they're trying to get people in to rent, And so they were so when stuff like this happens, there's a lot of discounts, a lot of sales. And I was thinking to use that strategy when you're trying, let's say you're going to try to arbitrage, say, hey, it's a great house. I'd love to rent it. I'd love to sign a year lease on it, or 6 months or whatever, or a year. But could I get the first 2 months, first 2 months free? Then I start paying. And then even inform them. You can even do a forbearance through your bank. Might not tell them about that balloon payment. I'm just kidding. No, be upfront. And but you could even, I mean, if there's renters out there that are like desperate to get these because they're paying the mortgage and they're paying the electric, they're paying everything. Now, not just like I said, not just the mortgage in itself, $1,500 probably a lot of these houses, but then they're paying the electric, gas, water. I mean, the government's going to want his water. Government's going to want the gas bill, or Electric company, you got to pay that. I mean, that's more expense. So if they even just get someone in there to make that $1,500 a month for them, you know what I'm saying, just to pay the note, that takes off another $400 to $500 of expenses off their back too. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, you could probably get a good deal on some rent, but and then hey, work that in. Say, can I get the first month or first 2 months free or something like that, and then that'll help me weather the storm until I can get some Airbnbers in here. That's just another strategy I was thinking of.
That's a good strategy. I mean, people desperate right now, man. And it's funny you said the last recession. I think for the people that's panicking, I think that's a good thing that you said that, because I always look at it. I listen to Master P a lot. And he said the reason why recessions and things like that don't scare him is because he was like, I'm from the ghetto. He goes, I'm from the ghetto, but I live in Hollywood now. He goes, I can go back to that. I don't care because I have $1 million worth of information in my head. I have $1 million worth of games. So I know how to get back out of it, but I know how to survive in it and I know how to get back out of it. He goes, if you ain't never experienced that and you go have to live like that, he said, it'll kill you. So what I did was this whole time during this, I'm like, man, where was I at the last recession and could I still survive that? And I was like, man, I could, so I'm like, I ain't really worth to worry too much about what's going on, but now I have more information and we can use this information to not only help other people, but to grow yourself. So, man, fear, don't let fear lead the way, man. So,
or let fear motivate you in a way.
Yeah, you can let it motivate you, but let it motivate you rationally.
Yeah, in a good way.
Yeah, because we was talking about that earlier. Fear creates panic, and panic does create action.
Exactly. And nobody saw this coming. Maybe, the government knew. That's why they all cashed out before our good. Yeah. They thought everything was okay.
and that's the thing. Like you said, nobody saw it. It's a pandemic. Nobody saw it coming. And it's just like we always say how many times on this podcast, you can't predict the market. Can't predict it.
You can't predict it, man. And if you, let's just say right now would be like you have stocks or 401k or whatever you got, right now would be a terrible time to sell because everything's down, right? If you're in these funds, mutual funds or VTSAX, whatever, you just got to keep pumping money in because it's gonna come. You're buying at a discount right now. I mean, that's why you can't time the market. You just got to keep putting your money in. It sucks because Wall Street's crooked as hell, but you might as well play their game because it's like the biggest game in town. But also, don't just put all your that's what everybody. I mean, so many people at work, man, especially the older ones, they were got wiped out, man. This shit just because they're close to retirement age. They don't have rent. I'm never gonna get no rental house. I don't want to deal with fixing a toilet in the middle. Man, it's not a choice anymore. You got to have other things going on. You can't just rely on Wall Street, man. They'll rob you blind.
Dude, I be telling people that, man. Yeah, multiple streams of income. Yeah, you're right. It's not a choice. It's a necessity at this point. Yeah, and then that's what I was thinking about, man. Them people that get wiped out, you a year away from retirement, and then boom, you wiped, bro. All that people say Robert Kiyosaki's crazy, man. I don't know, man. He says it all the time, man. That can wipe out your 401k. He says it all the time, and the people who were super, I don't want to attack the people that are Dave Ramsey. I have some Dave Ramsey in me a little tiny bit, but that whole putting your money in the stock market and just working that shit can kill you, man. So
yeah, literally. And speaking about Dave Ramsey a little bit, I kind of started seeing a little bit of, wow, it would be nice to not be paying to this $5,000 a month that I'm paying toward mortgages. It'd be sweet to one day have, the renters in place that I'll be making that $5,000 a month because the houses are paid off. I'm not saying have all my houses paid off, but I'll have 3 or 4 or 5 that would be nice to have them. Those ones are paid off and those are going to carry me in case shit happens. Yeah. And I'll have mortgages on all the other ones, so I could take advantage of that leverage. But to have a good mix in your mind, that would be, just to have some kind of safety net, some safety cushion.
Yeah. You know who really thrives in time like this? Multifamily investors. They thrive in shit like this. I can go down. I got 50 doors in this one complex. And I was sitting there looking. And that's why I'm like, man, I got to have something. Even if you do buy houses, I think renting by room is like the way to go. It creates a multifamily. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Multifamily always wins. Like, you know, and I think that's just where it is, man. You know?
Yeah. I mean, they might struggle too because, like I said, remember they're giving those deals like crazy, man. You know, free color TV and 2 months free rent and all just to get people in their units. And yeah, there'll be lean times, but you're right. I mean, it's got a bunch of units.
Still survive, man.
But the only thing with that, a lot of people that get into multifamily they don't buy it by themselves. They're in it with a whole bunch of other people. So,
but I know, but
yeah.
it gives you leverage.
Yeah,
it's leverage. As long as they paid, they don't give a damn. As long as you might not bring in more on your end, but shit, if they paid and it's a long-term play. It's like you said with the stock. Can't pull your money out. It's going to go back up. You know?
Yeah, exactly. So
it's a trip. Wow, I look at it, man. I just look at it from all angles, man. I was like, damn.
So you still looking for your fourplex?
Yes, sir. So I was trying to get it. I think someone bought the one I was looking at. If not, then I'm not the house with the apartment attached to it. He listed it again, but he came down like 50 G's.
The one over there in the Viridian.
Mm-hmm.
He came down 50 G's.
Yeah.
God, dog.
I was like, oh shit, yeah. So I'm thinking about offering like 3 something on it. So I don't know. I'm looking at different options. I'm just running numbers and looking at different options, but I'm actively looking. I'm in the portals every day.
You gonna rent the upstairs out again?
That's a possibility because I'm like, man, if people need the housing, I mean, it's definitely a possibility.
Cool,
I think that's where we're gonna be. People gonna downsize.
Yep, a lot of possibilities, man. Gotta look at everything.
Yes, sir.
Can't be a one-trick pony anymore.
Gotta have different game, man.
Well, cool, man. Great episode.
Yeah.
Good talking to you and our fans and Chris Henry. And yeah, man, it's a lot of, we give you all a lot of good information. So go like us and go, what's it called? Go leave us a review. We appreciate that.
Subscribe, leave us a review, all that good stuff. And hit us up in the comments if you're on the YouTube. So we definitely reply back.
I'm still on my break from all the social medias right now. So you can
break from social media?
I told you that already, right?
Yeah, man. You got to start using social media for what it's for, to make you money.
Yeah, man. I just got off of it. Everything was just negative. The world's coming to an end and all this stuff.
Block. Money.
I got to block everybody.
That's what I do. Block. If I don't want to see it. But
by the way, if y'all be liking these hats, we're going to have some on sale pretty soon. So the LLT hat, represent. You wear this, it's like gives you power, you know. It gives you like, man, I'm gonna thrive through anything, you know. It's like a talisman. It's just like, it's cool. It's fresh, huh? My buddy hooked it up.
That's dope. I like it, man.
No, this one's called the trucker hat. He said it's the trucker hat. It has the the holes through it. And this is what Myka wanted, the flat brim.
Fitted.
Fitted. Well, yeah. So hit us. Yeah, we'll be having some merch coming at y'all.
Yes, sir. But yeah, thank y'all for listening. LLT is out.
Later.
Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Live, Let, Thrive. Be sure to tune in next week for all the latest in the world of Airbnb and all that entails. Bye-bye.